He doesn't have the longest history when it comes to directing, but I've always really liked the work of Jeff Nichols. Midnight Special and Mud, these are all really, really well-told stories. So I was excited to see the Bikeriders. I love this kind of lifestyle and culture. I ride motorcycles, I'm a Triumph guy, my dad's a Harley guy. I've grown up around bikes as a result of that, and I've always loved the culture of cruising and riding and knowing like what different types of motorcycles there are. I love Indian, I like Yamahas, Hondas, Moto Guzzi. My brother-in-law rides a KTM. I just love the culture around it. So this movie was kind of like catered towards me, and I thought it was okay. I don't like it as much as I thought I did, but let's talk about the Bikeriders. Okay, so before we get started, click on the subscribe button, notification bell, all that good stuff. Trying to get to 500 subscribers at some point in the future. I'm in no hurry. I just like reviewing movies on the internet. So, the Bikeriders. What I liked about the movie. Let's just do a quick what I liked, what I didn't like, and that'll be my review. What I liked. Great performances all around. Austin Butler is kind of great in everything. Loved him in Dune 2. He was a great Elvis. He's great in kind of everything he does. Big fan of his work. Jodie Comer, the GOAT, the Queen. She's great. Loved her in The Last Duel. One of my favorite movie of 2022. Freaking love that movie. Yeah, Jodie Comer, awesome here. English actress, nails the accent, the Midwest accent that she does in this, like to a T. And gives a very good performance overall. Tom Hardy is great. Yeah, the acting overall is really good. So I like that. The movie nails its look and feel. It seems like it's fairly well directed. That's what I liked about the movie. What I didn't like about the movie is the overall story. I felt like a lot of the characters were not particularly fleshed out. And the way the story is told, it's basically like a fictional retelling of the origin of the outlaw biker gang. In the film, they're called the Vandals. So there's clearly some liberties taken, names changed, all that good stuff. But it's kind of like, hey, this is the start of biker gang culture. And what does that eventually look like is kind of the end of the movie, where things become more violent and criminal. I mean, a lot of crime in the first place, but really true become like nasty outlaw gangs. So it's told from Nancy's story. She's Jodie Comer's character. She's telling this story about Benny, her husband, which is the Austin Butler character, and how they met in this seedy biker bar, and they instantly kind of had this mutual attraction and this chemistry, and they fell in love. And then, like, her desire to see him maybe move on from the gang, and his personal desire to also maybe move on from the gang, his relationship with Tom Hardy. Most of that stuff is like, it does an okay job of fleshing it out, but I think there could have been more. Michael Shannon, who is a frequent Jeff Nichols collaborator, is in this movie. His character is a bit of a waste. Boyd Holbrook is in this movie. He's actually fantastic. He very much like disappears into the role. I actually had to Google to make sure it was him. But his character is just kind of here and doesn't really do too much. There's a lot of characters in this movie that don't really do too much. And I kept thinking about like how a story is told while watching this movie. So in a movie you have exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, conclusion, right? That's like the story. That's how a story is generally told. You introduce your characters, there's action, the movie has its climax at various points. You know, it has the climax, it could be in the middle, it could be at the end, and then there's action after that as things kind of diffuse and then the movie wraps itself up. That's generally how a story is told. What's funky about the Bikeriders is it doesn't really have any of that. It has its moments of pretty extreme violence, but it never it builds and builds and builds, but the movie never felt like it had any sort of actual climax. It technically does, but it doesn't feel like it. The movie never fully engaged me, and I never really felt the stakes, because this is a movie where the stakes, it plays the stakes as relatively low. There are massive consequences in the story, especially when it comes to the overall direction of motorcycle culture and motorcycle club culture in particular, and it just kind of fizzles out. And that's disappointing, because overall I think the movie is really well done, really well acted. It just never gripped me like I felt like it should. So overall, that was kind of disappointing. This is a movie that I'll see once. I will probably never watch this movie again, which is unfortunate, because a good engaging film will really draw you in and want you to watch it multiple times. And I just felt like I got everything on the first viewing, and there's really nothing under the surface to see here. So that's my review of the Bikeriders. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit me up, tell me if I'm wrong, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.